Welcome to the St. Joseph Radio Presents live program, broadcasting to you from the Rome of the West, St. Louis, Missouri. The program that for over 30 years has brought you eloquent speakers from across the globe to help explain, clarify, and evangelize the Catholic faith. Our program covers a variety of topics relating to current issues and occurrences in our daily lives. Now, with the aid of technology, we are able to bring the gospel message to the four corners of the world, where Christ himself did say, "Those who have ears ought to hear." It is our hope at St. Joseph Radio that through these programs we can help evangelize the world and change one soul at a time. Now, here is your host to introduce today's guest and topic.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to St. Joseph Radio, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, the Rome of the West. We're here today with our special guest, Kathy Forck, who's going to talk to us about the Midwest March for Life. But before we get started, I would ask Kathy if maybe you could start us off with a prayer.
Sure. Thank you, Mark. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, we ask you to send your Holy Spirit here for this conversation, and that it would reach many hearts who were wondering exactly what is this March for Life and why should I go. Please enkindle in them love for your children, those who are preborn, those in the womb, and let them feel that call that they need to be in Jefferson City to pray with us, to march with us, and to learn about life, and most of all, to honor and glorify your Son, Jesus Christ. I ask this in his most holy name. Amen.
Amen. Wow, Kathy, so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And Kathy is a hero of mine, and she, as we speak, I think you'll understand, and you may, if she's not already a hero of yours, you may come to say, I have to find out more about this, Mrs. Forck. So, Kathy, you are the organizer of the Midwest March for Life. And maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself, how the march came to be, how long has the march been going on?
Okay. Well, back in 2007, I moved to Missouri from Arizona, and I married Mike Forck. And in 2009, I was enjoying my life of leisure. I was retired, and I asked God, what would you like me to do? And the word abortion came into my mind. I had no idea why that would come into my mind, but it did. And so I asked my husband if they had any abortion facilities near us, and they did in Columbia. And so that led Mike and myself to start the 40 Days for Life in Columbia, which God just did so many wonderful things there. And while we were there, we met a wonderful man named Gregory Thompson, and he wanted to have a march in Jefferson City because he said, you know, probably 1% of the people are able to go to D.C., and we should have something here in our state. And I don't want to have it on the day, I want to have it on a different day so it's not conflicting. And he didn't know how to invite people. Well, we knew people. And so we did that march, and 500 people came, and it snowed. We had the most beautiful pictures from that march.
Wow.
The Knights of Columbus, when they had the regalia, you know, they were out there in the snow, and they were forced to leave their swords outside because they couldn't take them in the Capitol. It was kind of funny. And then after it was over, he said, you know, I think you guys should take it over. And so we took it over. And a gift he gave us was the cross. It's a life-size cross, and it was the cross of Father Norman Westland. He was a pioneer in the pro-life movement, and I truly believe he's a saint. And so Gregory had led the march with that cross, and in tradition of that, we always lead the march with Father Norman Westland's cross.
That's one of the first things I noticed when I went to my first Midwest for March for Life was that the cross led the march, and it seems only fitting, right? Mm-hmm. So the march has been going on then since 2010.
2010, January.
500 people the first time.
Yes.
Has it grown?
It has. Every year it's just grown some more. Last year we had approximately 3,000 people.
Wow.
And some people don't come for the whole thing. Like we say it's a march, but actually we have activities going from 8 in the morning. And the last activity, well, I don't want to say activity, but the last beautiful thing that happens is the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass, which will be at 1:30 in the afternoon at historic St. Peter Church right across from the Capitol. And so the march actually goes from 8 in the morning until 2:30, about 2:30. And we begin the whole day at 8 o'clock with the Rosary and Divine Mercy. And this year it's going to be on the north side of the Capitol. So it's facing the river. And so it's beautiful out there. Father Viviano, who is the pro-life moderator of Jefferson City, will be leading the Rosary and the Divine Mercy.
It's always a pleasure to see Father Viviano there. And that is a beautiful view.
It is.
And it's kind of stunning. If you've never been to our state capitol, whether you're from Missouri or one of the neighboring states, or maybe even as far as away as one of the coasts, our state capitol happens to be particularly beautiful. It's situated in a perfect spot, and inside and out, it is very stately, and I just might say very American. Everything about it. If you can come, give yourself time to go inside and visit the rotunda. The artwork is spectacular.
Lots of scripture, too.
Lots of scripture. It's almost sometimes difficult to distinguish. Am I in a religious building or am I in a government building? And that's what's so unique about it. And that adds to the special ambiance for the march. So from 500 people to 3,000 people, it takes some doing to get that many people to come to an event. How did you start? How did you spread the word? How did you let people know there was a march? And how has that moved along over the past 10 or so years?
Well, I truly believe the Holy Spirit is the one who's advising people to get there. I think that we could maybe hit 5,000 this year. We have a website. It's MidwestMarchForLife.com. Real easy, MidwestMarchForLife.com. And so if you go there, you can register. And so that way I kind of have an idea how many people are coming. We have all kinds of schools that are coming from all over the state. Southern Missouri, East, West, St. Louis, Kansas City, Kirksville, all over. And the website, I think, is the main way of letting people know. We do have a Facebook page, Midwest March for Life, and we just tell people. And then another thing that we do, we're kind of a grassroots group, and there are some people who work with me. Judy Bax she's a phenomenal person with organization. And so we are in the Jefferson City Diocese, and so we have, I think, 72 parishes. Every year she calls each parish, and she says, how many of these would you like for your bulletin? And so we send the half size of these, and we send out, well, this year I think we've sent out, it's going to be close to 30,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we give them to schools, like when they have a folder that goes home, on either Monday or Friday, we put them in there. We just pass out these flyers just all over the place. We go to Jefferson City and go up and down the parade route, and people put that in their window, to let people know. Facebook, Twitter, we rely on people to tell other people. And I think that I'm getting registrations where someone will say, well, this school went last year, they told us about it, we want to register for it too. So
excellent.
Word of mouth.
That's fantastic. And as I'm listening, the thought going through my mind is, if the 3,000 people that came last year could all bring one person, we double its size.
Double it, yes.
Right? And it's, how hard is it to bring one extra person? There's effort involved for sure. But that effort is, it's not equaled by make the effort and the outcome from it quadruples in actual what it does of value for society and for saving lives.
And I really think that the people who come, they come back the next year,
yes.
Because we keep seeing the same people. And occasionally, someone will say, oh, I really missed the march, but I'm going to make it next year.
Yes.
So it is on their radar.
I was talking to some young men last night about the march, and one of the things, and I made the statement that every time I come to the march, there's someone there that I'm surprised to see. Not because I'm surprised that they're pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
I think to myself, I wonder how they heard about this. I haven't seen this person in weeks or months or, maybe years. And it's so, I'm tickled that they're
amazing.
there. And someone else who was in the group we were in last night said, you know what, that happens to me too. And then another person chimed in and said, that's one of my favorite things, is running into people that I wasn't expecting to see. Mm-hmm. And we talked about how one of the benefits of that is that it really says we're in a community. And the community is much larger than we actually give ourselves credit for in some ways. And that when we're at home, kind of alone, and we're faced with any opportunities to defend life, those are things that are one-on-one battles that we have to confront. But how refreshing it is to be at an event like the Midwest March and recognize I'm just one soldier in a massive army.
Exactly. One thing too that has been really helpful, the Archdiocese of St. Louis, they have a Respect Life meeting, like every quarter, I believe it is. But they are so gracious. They invite me every year to come and talk to this whole room full of people and to give them flyers and these posters to put up in their churches. And that has been, I think that's really spread it a lot in the St. Louis, or in the Archdiocese of St. Louis. So I'm very appreciative of that.
I've handed out flyers at some of the parishes in my little community. And to my surprise, one year I saw children from the school at the march, and I happened to see their pastor, and I made a comment. He said, yeah, I don't know, someone sent a poster to us, and we came. And I thought, well, it doesn't necessarily mean it was me. It could have been anyone who sent the poster. But the idea that if you let people know and you post it and you place visible signs of where the march is, you will attract people. I'm wondering, is there a theme to this year's march?
Well, our theme is always to honor and glorify Jesus Christ, and then to defend innocent life. That is our theme. However, the 40 Days for Life and the Midwest March for Life kind of run together. And we have been fighting abortion in our state, since 2009. The group that I'm with, the 40 Days for Life, and in particular, a group I'm with, Team Play, which stands for Prayer, Legislation, Action, and You, which is how we felt that it was God calling us to do these things, to pray, to legislate, to do action, and to get the people involved. And with that, we asked God to close the door on abortion in our state, and He did. He got rid of all of the abortion facilities, and so there are no places in Missouri where a person can get an abortion. And in Revelations, it says that God says, what I have shut, no one can open. And so with this ballot initiative coming up, that's kind of like our motto, that we believe that God shut the doors to abortion in Missouri, and it is our earnest hope that He will not let them open again. And another thing that we pray about too is pray expectantly, and that's on our t-shirts.
Yes.
To pray expectantly. And so we are praying expectantly that God will grant our wishes, our prayers, our supplications, that abortion would not come back to the state of Missouri.
Yes. Yes. And I know that there are literally thousands of people in our state right now who are praying, just as you said, for that outcome. And, God willing, He will give us that. And He won't give us that without us praying and asking and working.
And fasting.
And fasting, another good one, yes. So this year, you have a group of speakers who are going to be speaking. Who is coming this year? Who should we be looking forward to hearing to speak?
Okay. Well, the prime keynote is Melissa Ohden, and I'm sure many of your viewers know Melissa Ohden. She is a beautiful woman. The abortion to take her life failed.
Yes.
So she survived a saline abortion. And it's a story that I'm sure she'll touch on. And Melissa, we're so pleased to have her. She lives in Kansas City, and she's bringing her new book. So she'll have 2 books there for sale if people are interested in getting her book, and she can autograph it for them. We're also pleased to have Reagan Barklage. And Reagan, she is the National Field Director for Students for Life. And I've known Reagan since she was a student at Mizzou when she started Mizzou Students for Life. She actually came to one of our 40 Days for Life prayer vigils. We had a candlelight vigil when we kicked off one of our rallies, and I remember Reagan being there.
I remember seeing her speak at March for Life when she was still a student at Mizzou. But hey, I just need to let everyone know that you are listening to St. Joseph Radio, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, the Rome of the West. So we have Melissa. By the way, if you've not heard her story, it is it's spellbinding. I mean, I hung on every word the first time I heard her speak. Anytime you hear her speak, there's no coincidence in her story. God is very, very present and very visible in her story. And I think anyone who would listen objectively could not walk away and say, there's still reason for choice. There is no reason for choice. So yes, come and hear her speak. Who else do we have on the dais?
Well, we have Ivy Allman, and Ivy is the brand ambassador for Support After Abortion. And Ivy will talk about the message of support after abortion, and her story is quite interesting also. The next person is Bridget Van Means, and Bridget is with Thrive, and I'm sure a lot of people in St. Louis know about Thrive. I mean, Thrive is going out into other states, and they're just a wonderful pregnancy resource center that they basically kicked Planned Parenthood out of town. They really did.
That they did. They
kicked them out. We also have Brandy Meeks, who is the president of Vitae Foundation. I've known Brandy for a long time, and her stories is just really compelling. She has such a great message, which Vitae, is into the research and development. So she knows all about what's going on. And we have Dr. Wes Fowler, and he is the executive director of the Missouri Baptist Convention, and he is new to Jefferson City.
Oh, wonderful.
So we're pleased to have him. I had the honor of meeting him at the Missouri Right to Life, pro-life lobby day. And then we have Nate Robertson, who is with Sidewalk Advocates for Life, and he's the vice president, and he's a phenomenal speaker. He is so good. But we have a lot of speakers. Melissa will have a longer time to speak, but the rest of the speakers, they have 5 minutes.
Okay.
So they, but it's wonderful because
they pack a lot into those 5 minutes.
They do, and people are just mesmerized,
Yes.
And it just goes boom, boom, boom,
And you would think, well, you've just named 7 speakers, and they're all going to speak about abortion. So isn't that the same thing over and over again? Not even
it's all
close.
Different.
Not even close. One of the things that I really enjoy about the day is that hearing 6 or 7 or different perspectives and different ways to think about abortion and different ways to defend life. It's really kind of a master class put into a very, very narrow window of time. But the things you hear and learn don't leave you. So it's very, very worth coming.
There are a couple other speakers. We just weren't able to fit them on the poster, but Gregory Cobb, and he's from St. Louis, and he's with Special Olympics, and he had spoken at the UN. I mean, a wonderful young man.
Wow!
And so he's going to speak, and then the Lord put a woman named Megan Mastro into my path at Seek
Oh,
24. Yes, yes. And so she is actually from Arizona. And so she had experienced abortion at 16. So she's going to tell her story. And we kind of put some people together into the youth rally. So we actually have a youth rally that's going to be at 12:15, and it's going to be on the steps of the Capitol. And Nate Robertson is going to be emceeing that event, and he'll also speak a little bit. And then we have Levi Hart from Thrive, and he will also share his abortion experience. And then Megan will also speak then. And then Reagan is going to give, Reagan always gives great talks. So they'll have about an hour, and the kids just love it.
Yes.
Yeah, the kids just love this youth rally. And last year there were some kids that had to leave before the rally was over, and they were like, why do we have to go back? But so now the schools, they're making it so that the kids can stay that long.
Oh, wonderful.
And a lot of them are staying for the Mass too.
Excellent.
So
excellent.
Yeah, I think that I think it's getting out that we have a really good message for the youth, which is so important because it all is going to hinge on them.
That's
and
the
so
future.
they want them to get that message.
Yes.
And then another thing that we didn't talk about was we have over 35 exhibitors that are going to be there. Like Vitae, 40 Days for Life, and then lots of pregnancy resource centers. Thrive will be there. I apologize, I can't think of all the names, but Pregnancy Help Center in Jefferson City. There's one from Hannibal. Just all these different pregnancy resource centers that are going to be there.
Excellent.
So you can get information. The kids can go by and see these different places where they might want to volunteer and find out more information about it. And even just knowing that there are pregnancy resource centers in the state is huge, to let them know if, God forbid, one of their friends became pregnant. And
What do you do? Who do you go to? Typically,
they think Planned Parenthood. That's what they think. So we want them to think Pregnancy Resource Center.
Absolutely.
So
There are alternatives.
And we're so excited because Turning Point USA is going to have a table.
Wow.
And then just a few days ago, I spoke with Live Action, and they're going to have a table too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's very, very exciting.
It is.
So we're describing the march. You're telling us who's going to be speaking. It's in Jefferson City, Missouri on a Wednesday. And the question...
May 1st.
May 1st. And someone asked in a conversation last night, well, if I went to the march in Washington, D.C., why should I have to go to the one in Jefferson City?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't think you have to go.
No.
But, it's so funny because I don't think you can ever learn enough. I probably go to 5 or 6 different conferences a year, and I've been doing that since 2010.
Yes.
And every time I go, I learn something different. I meet new people. I get new contacts. But I think that our march here in Missouri is it's really special, and I think that it's going to touch people who come. It's not like, okay, let's just go. It's not like a march where you just go and march. It's a march where you are starting out the day with your faith, with a rosary, Divine Mercy. And then you go and you learn things from these wonderful speakers.
Yes.
And then you march.
Yes.
And then you come back, and the Knights of Columbus from St. Peter and Fulton, they grill these hot dogs.
Which are amazing, folks.
I know I've had emails that when they register, are they going to have the hot dogs again? Yes, they are. So they have that. So you just have this break, to do that.
Yes.
And by the way, bring extra, bring snacks.
Yes.
Your water bottle with
water,
you.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we do have the hot dogs, but, the food is limited. So bring snacks because, kids like to have extra stuff.
That's right.
And so then we,
Bring chairs.
Yes. Well, no, they don't.
Oh, that's true.
They really wouldn't need chairs unless you're older people and want to.
Right.
And we will have some chairs on the lawn.
Okay, that's great.
But we also have, I forgot to mention, Claire Huntley. She is an accomplished singer. She's actually performed in Branson and in New York City. She's 16. She's a junior at Helias, and so she's going to be singing in the morning. And then she's also going to be singing at 11:45, and right before the youth rally. So, okay, we didn't just march.
Right.
We started out with God. We learned. We marched, and now you have an extra rally just for the kids. And then we also have a ballot initiative update in the Capitol Rotunda, and Dina Espenscheid from Life Institute will be doing that. And she has wonderful ideas about how to combat this decline, how to combat the ballot initiatives.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's something for the people that are there that don't, have kids. Okay, the kids go there and
Right.
you go into the rotunda.
So note to people, bring water, bring snacks, bring a notebook and a pen, because there's a lot to learn. And in my mind, I think I can remember things, but there's no way you can remember all that there is there to learn. And we're coming up on a station break. When we come back from that break, I'd like to tell you about how someone responded to the question, well, if I go to the march in Washington, why should I go in Missouri? And I think it's very timely. It was spot on. And I think we need to hear that. So we'll cover that when we come back. But while we're here right now, a couple of things that we should talk about. May 1st, Jefferson City, Missouri, the Midwest March for Life. We want to make sure that people know where Jefferson City is. It's in the middle of our state.
Mm-hmm.
It's an hour and a half from St. Louis, maybe equidistant from Kansas City.
That's about 2 hours.
2 hours from Kansas City. So if you're in a surrounding state, we welcome you from Iowa. We welcome you from Nebraska and Arkansas, Illinois. And
Kansas.
Yes, Kansas. Please come out, Kansas. You've had some difficult results in elections, and we want to make sure that you are fully armed for what's going to come in your future.
Hi, this is Matt Loggeman with St. Joseph Radio with a great gift idea. A St. Benedict bracelet, a trendy accessory for men, women, and children that not only looks good on everyone's wrist, but is actually armor for the spiritual battlefield. This unique bracelet is handmade in Europe and contains 10 medals within the braided cord in the adult size and 7 medals in the children's size. On the front of each beautiful medal is St. Benedict holding a cross in his right hand, the object of his devotion. On the back of each medal is a cross. Surrounding the back of the medal and cross are the letters VRSN MVSMQLIVB, in Latin reference which translates, "Begone, Satan. Never tempt me with your vanities. What you offer me is evil. Drink the poison yourself." And finally, located at the top is the word PAX, which means peace. All bracelets come packaged with an informational card and a St. Benedict blessing which your local priest can administer. This gift is for everyone you love and care about, including yourself. Available from St. Joseph Radio. Check the website at www.saintjosephradio.net.
St. Joseph Catholic Radio is proud to announce the launch of SJEN TV, the St. Joseph Evangelization Network. SJEN TV is a premier online Catholic broadcasting network providing quality Catholic programming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have programming such as live studio interviews, St. Joe's Java speaker presentations, current Catholic issues, and the Pro-Life series. We're featuring the many talented speakers out of Orange County, California, and this Archdiocese of St. Louis, Missouri, including Professor John Gresham, Father James Mason, Karen Nokemper, Rick Hollerick, Bill Federer, and many more. To review the program list, go to sjen.tv or on Roku, SJEN TV. All this programming is free, and we are welcoming sponsorship of new programs. Find out more at sjen.tv.
And welcome back, everyone. You are listening to St. Joseph Radio. My name is Mark Serafino, and I'm here with our special guest, Kathy Forck. She is the organizer for the Midwest March for Life, coming up on May 1st in Jefferson City, Missouri. So before our break, I mentioned that in a meeting I was attending last night, the question was asked, well, why should I attend the march in Jefferson City when I've attended the march in Washington, D.C.? And by the way, I've also had that question asked, because I attended a march in my local city, like Kansas City or St. Louis, why should I go all the way to Jefferson City? And there's an answer for that, and there's a bigger answer for the overall. The bigger overall answer is, since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the momentum, the drive for the abortion battle has become a states' rights issue. That means, yes, it's important that we are in Washington, D.C., but it's equally important that we are visible and present in our own state of Missouri, especially our state of Missouri, where we are currently abortion-free, and our determination is to stay that way.
Abortion facility free.
Yes, abortion facility free. So if you have that thought, like, well, I went all the way to Washington, D.C., that's great, keep going. But remember, the battle now has expanded, and we really need troops on the ground here in our home state. So hopefully, if you're listening, you can find a few hours on Wednesday, May 1st to make the trip to Jefferson City. And you know, Kathy said, not everyone stays for the whole day. It's okay to come for the march. It's okay to come for the rally. We don't necessarily make you punch a clock.
Right.
We just want you to be there.
Yes.
The other thing about having the March for Life and why it's necessary to do it here is because in Jefferson City, we're very visible to our legislators.
Absolutely.
And it's very difficult to underscore how important that is for our cause. What kind of feedback or pushback have you received from legislators in the state? Are you getting, do you have, surely you have some who support and maybe some who would rather you go away?
Well, I'm sure there are some who wish we wouldn't be there, but they don't really say anything. It's a pro-life day. It's all pro-life. And the legislators are, a lot of them will come down, just to mingle with the crowd and just, be supportive of the people that are there.
Yes.
And it's really important that those legislators know that there are people who want them to pass these pro-life laws. Because, sometimes the other side is very vocal. They get a lot of phone calls and emails that say, don't do this. So our legislators need to get phone calls and emails saying, do the
Yes.
pro-life thing.
Yes.
So it just encourages them to know that they're there. I remember one time we had we overturned the governor's veto, and that was on the 72-hour waiting period. And
Which governor would that have been?
what was the one before Parson? He was the Democratic one. Coster was the, what was his name?
I don't remember,
I
but
can't
he
think of
was
his name.
some years ago, not
Yeah,
the current
he was there
governor.
for quite a while. But anyway, he had vetoed it, and we were able to get people there and to have a rally down there in the rotunda. And legislators came to me later and said, thank you for doing that when we were voting to overturn that. The sounds of you people down there cheering and saying, override, override, made us
Wow.
stalwart in our commitment to override that veto on 72 hours. That was 72 hours that a woman had from the time that she went in to get her ultrasound until she actually had the abortion. And we saw at Columbia Planned Parenthood that they had a self-imposed 72-hour wait. Even though it wasn't law, it was 24 hours at the time, because their abortionists would come on Monday and not come back till Thursday. We saw that women were not coming back when they had time to think about it, when we were able to give them information.
Yes.
I mean, at the end, when the last time that they did abortions, 2 out of 3 women chose not to come back.
Wow.
And that was because of
Wow.
the 72 hours. So that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's very, very incredible. It would occur to me then, and I've had people, I've said, hey, you should come to the march in Jefferson City. And, where is it? Well, it's on the Capitol lawn. And people are always surprised, like, oh, the government will let you do that?
Oh, yes.
So will they let you do that? Obviously. How do they, what kind of, what did you have to do to be able to get the permission?
Well, you have to file a permit
Okay.
for it. That's the first step. And then once you get the permit, then you are free then to start advertising it and doing what you need to do. But yes, you do have to get a permit, which is very easy to obtain.
Because I think people often think, well, it's up to the governor. Is he behind it, or is he okay with it? I've had people say, so the governor lets you do that. I'm like, well, I don't think it's really the governor's call.
I think it's freedom of assembly.
Right, right. So
Freedom of speech.
you can come and, it's okay. You're allowed to be there. You're allowed to be on the lawns and the premises, just be law-abiding. And law-abiding is something else. You and I were talking the other day that for someone who maybe has never been to our march or a march for life, and they're watching television and they see video and stories about protests that are going on, which, by the way, they're going on everywhere these days.
Oh, yeah.
The visuals they see are people sitting in the road to stop traffic, people committing acts of vandalism and violence, and more often than not, if you look at the number of people, there's not that many of them.
No.
And that's their, and you can define their however you like, listeners, but that's their method of getting attention. Ironically, 3,000 this year, hopefully 5,000 or more people will peacefully march through the streets of a state capital without obstructing traffic, without a single act of vandalism or violence. 99% of them saying prayers as they're processing.
And the lawns are just pristine when you get there, and they're pristine when we leave, because
Yes.
pro-lifers don't throw trash around. They
Yes.
just don't do it.
Yes.
So the cleanup is very minimal.
The environment is safe. The environment is uplifting, and is very supportive. Everyone, total strangers, the moment you see each other, you're united and you're sharing in this cause.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful experience. So I think that if you're listening and you're thinking, should I go or not, I'm kind of hinting that maybe you should go.
Oh, I also wanted to mention that Thomas More Society,
Yes.
they give us these backpacks that we fill full of literature and giveaways from the different pro-life organizations. And so the first 1,000 people that get these backpacks, they get that. And it's really nice because you can put your literature that you gather or your water bottle or whatever in this backpack that says Thomas More Society. So we have that. There was one other thing I was going to... Oh, and then Abby Johnson, you know the movie Unplanned?
Yes.
Okay. She gave us 2,500 DVDs to pass out.
This year.
Yes. So at the
Wow.
march, we'll have the DVDs, and so we'll be giving them to
Wow.
people there, to the adults
Yes.
there.
Yes. Folks, if you haven't seen that movie, it's a must-see
Incredible.
movie. It's incredible, and it is so revealing of the obstacle that we're fighting against, and it exposes, as plain as day, the other side.
Yes.
So, yes, if you haven't seen the movie, it's very important that you see it. It just, again, it adds to part of our formation and education on why this matter, why this issue is so vitally important. This isn't necessarily a single political issue. It is the political issue. Everything else stems from it. If you start with a premise that it's okay to eliminate humans at any level, but especially in the womb, what have you started with? What are you building on? So this infection has spread through our culture, and we need to put it away. We need to once and for all find a way to kind of take it off of our minds and off of our plates, and certainly from happening any further. So you mentioned an initiative, a ballot initiative, and decline to sign, and wondering if you couldn't talk a little bit about why am I seeing posters that say decline to sign my parish. It's in the bulletin every Sunday.
Yes.
It's in the hallways, and
Yes.
people are talking about
Good.
it. What are we talking about?
Well, I'm also with a group called Missouri Stands with Women, and we were blessed to put that piece together that's in all of the bulletins, and it's meant to talk to not only people who are pro-life, but people who may be quite not right where we would like them to be. You know, they
Right.
may be tending a little bit towards,
Sure.
you know, the other side. And so it lets them know about some different things that they need to know about. You know, one of the things that just really is horrible, the whole thing is horrible, but it wants to put this into the Constitution that a healthcare professional is the one who would be doing abortions.
You mean a doctor, right?
No, it does not say doctor. So what that means is, and like I speak to the petition gatherers all the time, he goes, well, that means a doctor. No, when you read the law, and we know that the other side is very good at looking for loopholes. A healthcare provider can be an LPN, it could be a podiatrist, it could be a physical therapist.
Wow.
It could be anybody that is in the healthcare profession. It does not have to be a doctor.
Really?
So we are opening ourselves up. All the laws that we had on the books, they're gone. All the laws we passed for the health and safety of women, they're gone. And it's so insidious because the next thing says that any healthcare provider or anyone who assists with the abortion, which would be someone who takes you there, cannot be sued. They are free from any legal responsibility. So in other words, if God forbid, someone that I love gets pregnant by their boyfriend, the boyfriend's mother says, well, we're not having this. She takes this person I love and her son, and they go to one of these places, and that loved one is maimed or killed.
It happens.
Yeah, it does. And I can't sue the boyfriend. I can't sue the mother for taking my child because all of the laws protecting children as in regards to abortion are gone. And I can't sue the healthcare provider who did it. What are we trying to put in our Constitution?
Yeah.
And then they want us to pay for it. There
Right.
are loopholes in there because you can't regulate it. And so we would be paying for it.
It's a crazy
awful.
irony because we live in a time where suing someone is almost like a
Oh, yeah.
sport.
Yeah, everybody
There's
can sue.
hardly anything that a person can do today where they're not subject to being
Mm-hmm.
sued. And some of the biggest drivers for that mentality, interestingly enough now, are trying to build
Mm-hmm.
a mechanism that says, oh, by the way, you can't sue us. And the hypocrisy of that, the contradiction, it falls on deaf ears, or people choose not to see it. It's kind of like we've had some older people, I was going to say elderly, we've had some older people say, I understand pro-life and I'm all for babies, but, my day's done. I'm not going to be getting pregnant anytime soon, and all my children, their children are born. So, the issue doesn't really matter. And my wife and I say, well, no, it actually does matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because, no, you're not going to have a baby, but you are aging. Mm-hmm. And you're going to need, most likely, some advanced medical care. Mm-hmm. And when we start down a road that says we can choose who lives, and we're down that road. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is not a new threat. We are far down that road. But to that person who says, well, it really doesn't affect me, it doesn't matter to me, they're really turning a blind eye to a very, very severe threat that's coming. It's here now. Mm-hmm. They're getting more and more bold. And the more leeway they're given on the front side, which is the abortion side, the more they feel empowered on the backside. Mm-hmm. How do we eliminate people who become a burden to society?
And taking money out of the Social Security system.
Right.
Everyone who gets Social Security, that's more money into it. And we're not even replacing ourselves in the United States. Our birth rate is below replacement level.
That's right.
And a society can't sustain itself with that.
No, I in my business career, I would attend meetings and they would talk about where are we going to find the workers of the future. And a lot of comments were made about younger people. They don't want to work. And, there's a lot of rhetoric about that we blame the younger generation for not wanting to work. They're all working in their parents' basement. No, they're not. I'm sure there's an element of young people who are not motivated or don't have the ambition. But the reality is, when you go to a store today and you have to self-checkout, I was in the airport this past weekend, and in the magazine shop, it's self-checkout. The reason for that, among all the others, cost and everything, is those people are dead now. We've been killing them since 1973. 60 million people
Yeah.
don't exist.
Yeah.
So when you go somewhere and you look and say, well, where are they going to find people to do this? The answer is, well, we killed them. We killed them 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And this is the fruit of that. And it's really a mindset that I don't think people really think about. We want to push it off as, gee, I just don't understand why we don't have enough people. Folks, we're killing them. That's why we don't have enough people.
And all these young people who are saying, I just can't find someone that I want to marry and spend the rest of my life with.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about Decline to Sign when we, after the station break, which is you are listening to St. Joseph Radio. My name is Mark Serafino, and we are very, very happy to have as our special guest Miss Kathy Forck. So Decline to Sign. There's a movement of people gathering signatures to get a bill or these bills put on the November ballot. And the counter movement is Decline to Sign. So let's say I'm walking through the parking lot in my local Walmart, and someone walks up to me and says, how do they approach? Do they come up and say, sir, would you sign this petition? What is their approach?
Well, they that's what they say, but they say different things. Like, would you like to sign this petition for women's health? Would you like to sign this petition to get rid of the ban on abortion? Would you like to sign this for reproductive health? Various different things. And some just say, do you want to sign my petition? Because they're hoping that the person will just say, oh, okay, and sign it and not even know what they're signing.
Right.
Yeah.
So would you like to sign a petition for women's health? What's my response? How should I respond to that person?
Well, this is the thing. When the signature gatherers are out there, and they only have a certain amount of time to get signatures. And a lot of them are getting, they're having a hard time getting people because they've already signed or they're against it. And I think that the church has done a fabulous job with the flyers and the promotions, the letters from the bishop, and all of our letters of letting the faithful know that don't sign. So I really see the fruit from that. But the thing is, you want to eat up their time. And so, like, I talked to somebody for 22 minutes on Good Friday because I recorded it because I like to go back and, listen to it. But the longer that you can talk to them, there were probably 20 people that went by that did not sign. And I just happened to have my 40 Days for Life sweatshirt on, and on the back it says pray to end abortion. But in the front, where it said, pray to end abortion, luckily I had the Chrism Mass the Chrism Mass folder with me, so I was able to hide my pray to end abortion. So when I went up to talk to the young man, he had no idea, that I was on the other side. And a woman walked by and she said, ma'am. And I thought, oh boy, she's going to talk to me. And she said, thank you for your message. And I said, wow. Thank you. And then another gentleman walked by and the guy goes, hey, do you want to sign this? Because he knew it wasn't getting me to sign it. And it's for women's health. And he goes, no. And I said, thank you, sir. You really care about women. I'm proud of you. Thank you for standing up for the women in the state of Missouri.
Excellent.
And he was so proud, he walked into the store. And
how informed do you think the signature takers are?
They will tell you anything to get you to sign it. I think that they don't want to really know about it because when I educate them on it, they're like, well, I didn't know that. So, but I say, well, it says right here, because if you flip it over on the back, it has all the language. Like on the front, it's very minimal, but you need to read the language on the back. So you flip it over, and they're supposed to show that to you.
Okay.
So, but just eat up their time. Just talk to them like, well, how long have you been doing this work? Do you live in the state, or did you, come from another group? Because the one guy I was talking to, he was from Houston, and he had just gotten here like the week before. But there's a big push right now, and they're actually going to people's homes and knocking on the door and asking people to sign.
Oh, wow.
So be aware of that, but this is your opportunity. When someone comes to your door, don't just say, no. talk to them. Oh, well, can you tell me more about what this is about?
Right.
And could I read it? And then take it and read it.
Read slowly.
Yes, and just read it, you know. So that's a way that we can beat the clock, because the clock is ticking. May 5th is coming.
Wow.
And
and that's the cutoff date.
Yes, and we have had reports that they are low on signatures, but that just means they're working all the harder. We cannot
exactly
say,
right.
oh, they're low on signatures, let's just rest.
No. They'll pull out all the stops.
Yes, you have to do that. When you see somebody with a clipboard, go right up to them. Now, some of them, and ask them what it's for, because some of them are for something for gambling, and they say it's for children's education, which
Yeah, that
it
always
doesn't.
works.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
There's a real connection
yeah,
there.
you don't want to sign that one either.
No.
But ask what it's for. But if it is for anything about reproductive rights or women's health, talk to them.
Yes.
So that, I mean, that guy, he said to me, he says, are you going to leave anytime soon? And I said, well, I really don't have anything else to do today.
Would you like some
really
coffee?
had a lot to do.
Right.
And so he goes, oh, and they texted. And like within 2 minutes, a car pulled up. He goes, well, I got to go now. And he left.
Right.
So they had to take him, to some other place.
Sure.
But still, that's eating up time,
Yes. Because even that, the car ride from one spot to the next, the time that you took away. So there's a great strategy, folks, listening in. In the coming days, it's going to be a full court press. So you can expect to see people with clipboards literally everywhere you go. And I think they'll become more and more bold with where they try to go to collect signatures. So be mindful of that. The best defense is to occupy their time. Ask them questions. Can I read this? Engage them. Probably best, I would think, not to fight with them, not to
Correct.
argue with them.
Like today, I was door knocking, and this woman came, and she said, well, I actually did sign it. And I'm like, okay. So we started talking, and she said mainly it's because of the rape and incest exception, because she works for a organization that helps women that are have those, And so anyway, we talked, and I told her, I understand why you feel that way. I said, but let me just, share with you that Abby Johnson, who was a Planned Parenthood director, she said, we saw lots of little girls come in like that, and we took care of them, sad to say. She said, but those little girls really did not want to do it, because in their innocence, they knew it was a baby, they knew it was their baby, and they did not want to kill their baby, but mommy and daddy were making them do it.
Right.
So when they had to come in for the abortion, it just traumatized them all the more, because they realized that horrible man did that to me, and now they're taking my baby. And it just compounds. And so the only thing you can do is try to get the person who did that, bring him to justice. I mean, work for that. But the little girl has to be watched very carefully. And then, and she's maybe 8 months, then they would induce her so that the baby, wouldn't be as hard, the baby wouldn't be so big. And then the baby can be adopted, or maybe the family wants it anyway,
Right. Right.
But for that child to go through that trauma, but that was her reason. And so I had to find common ground. And so I told her, I said, I understand why you say that. I said, but right now under our laws, if that happens to a little girl, God forbid, she can be taken to Kansas or to Illinois. Right. But under this law, all our laws are gone. We don't have doctors doing it.
Right.
And women will suffer. So right now, what you want, it can happen, but under this, so many more women are going to suffer. And I think she thought about it and realized that this was not good, because I said, in the state of Missouri this year already, 10,000 women have had abortions.
Yeah.
They may not be doing them in our state, but
Right.
they're leaving.
That's
and we
right.
need to get resources to these women, because they need help.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming to the end of our hour together, and before we close, I did want to say that you mentioned something called Team Play. Team Play, which the only way you can find out how to join Team Play is to come to Jefferson City. I'm only kidding. We want to hold you hostage, but come to Jefferson City. Meet Kathy if you haven't met her. She's always readily available. She's a busy woman that day, but she's always has time for someone to say hello. And find out about Team Pray. Find out about Decline to Sign. Make sure that you do decline to sign. Tell your children, tell your neighbors. This is a grassroots movement that we can win, and we must win.
And I also wanted to put out there too that if you did sign that under false pretenses, you can get your name back. And this will really throw a wrench into it. So if anybody out there signed it, did not know the repercussions of this, all you have to do is send a sworn statement to the Secretary of State's office. And it doesn't have to be notarized. It just has to be a sworn statement. I, Kathleen Forck, swear that I signed the ballot initiative for women's reproductive rights. I wish to have my name withdrawn. My Kathy Forck, my address, and you send it to the Secretary of State's office, and they will remove your name. Can you imagine if we could take names off that way?
That would be amazing. Do you have to do that before May 5th?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to do that. Do it right away.
Let's
because
get going. Do it today as soon as you hear this. Mm-hmm. If you have signed, unfortunately,
accidentally signed, you
can recover from that, and you can join the side that says let's let life win.
Yes.
So we want to thank you all very much for listening. Thank you, Kathy, so much for being here. It's great to see you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
I know. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
And the weather's going to be beautiful.
It is. Thank you. This is St. Joseph Radio. Have a great day.
You've been listening to St. Joseph Radio Presents from the Rome of the West, St. Louis, Missouri. If you would like to join us in our evangelization efforts, you can order a copy of today's broadcast or any of our past programs by visiting us on our website, stjosephradio.net. That's SAINT, josephradio.net. Or call us 636-447-6000. It's all at your fingertips to help us evangelize the world, bringing the good news of Christ to everyone you meet and change one soul at a time. Thank you for your prayers and support. Until next time, may God bless you and your family. This has been a presentation of St. Joseph Radio Presents.